About spots on this horse. We've talked about spot, motivator, direction, and release. And so when we take the horse for groundwork, we're going to take him and we're going to divide him up into spots. And we have the horse's head, we have the horse's neck, we have the horse's rib cage, and then we have the horse's hindquarter. And it's very, very important when you're working your groundwork that you establish the place you want to work and where your horse is. So we need to first understand that you're going to have a box around you about this far out distance. And when we start our work, you'll see that we want to try to keep our feet in that box because we want to teach that horse to stay with us, to not pull on us. Resistance is what we are working out of our horses, whether we are on the ground or whether we are in the saddle. So it's very important that that horse learns to stay right with us and not pull away on the pressure that we're going to apply to this lead rope. So when we take our horse and we go back to where our spots are, we want to almost divide this horse in half, all right? We want to take right here at the withers, right across here, right where your cinch would go on your saddle, and we want to make that a dividing line. Now, when we start our groundwork, the position that we will stand in is right about here. When you take that divider line, when you take that dividing line, you want to use that as a go forward spot and a stop spot. Now what helps with the horse, understand that everything we do with this horse is done with body language. In their natural state of mind, they read each other's body language, how they move, what they do. You know, when one horse throws their hip towards the other horse, that's a signal for that horse to move away. So they need to watch us. So we need to be very consistent in how we move. And what happens is in training is consistency and repetition learns the horse. The horse learns what he needs to know. So it teaches the horse. So as we move here, we want to think about when we step behind this line here, all right, it is asking the horse to move forward, and it will help him move forward because of the way he thinks and what he knows naturally. And so if we can be consistent in our position in our box and how we step and the angles that we do, when we step behind this line, it will teach the horse to move forward. Now when we move in front of this line here, this should signal the horse to either stop and turn and face us, move his shoulder back, or move his shoulder away from us, okay? So when we have our directions, remember that we have forward, back, left, right, up or down. So the shoulder and the nose are the spots that we're going to work with to kind of direct our directions. But when we step behind this line here, it should be helping that horse go forward. So the very first thing that we need in all of training is consistent forward movement. Consistent forward movement. We need to start our horse's engines. Now we're going to talk today quite a bit about trains, and we call these series the locomotion series because I want you to understand how the horse works and how he moves. His engine is his hindquarter. The hindquarter spot is his engine. It is what helps us control him. It also works like a rudder. If we can control the horse's hindquarter, then we can control the horse. Because if we point the hindquarter, all right, in the opposite direction of where we want the nose to be, the nose will get there. So if we can control that, we can keep this horse with us and where we want him to be, whether we are on the ground or when we go ahead and move these lessons to the saddle. Remember that everything we do on the ground, this series is called the Groundation series because it is the foundation to what we do. So our groundwork is so important in establishing that. We will use it now to halt to break our colt. We will use it later when we run into problem issues and we need to get off and work our horse and get our horse's mind back. All right, so as we step back here for the go forward cue to start this engine, all right, we want to think about our spots. We need this horse to go to the left. Our spot would be our horse's nose. Now our position is very important, okay? Our motivator is our dressage whip and the way our body moves. So we're going to step to the right, we're going to raise our dressage whip, and we're going to ask for forward movement. Now, as the horse moves